Today's story takes us to a small town of Overberg High School in Caledon, Western Cape, South Africa. It's about a young life that was cut short in devastating circumstances. This is the story of Deveney Nel. Deveney was 16 years old at the time. She was a learner at Overberg High School, known to be gentle, helpful, full of empathy, and someone who cared about others. Although many details of her private life remain private, what we do know paints a picture of a young woman with a whole future ahead of her. It was the 7th of August, 2024. On that day, a sports event was underway at her school. Deveney was part of the school's first aid team, and so was her fellow learner, the accused. At about 3:45, the teen, who was 17 at the time, asked Deveney to assist him at the netball courts. She agreed. They walked together from the courts to a storeroom on campus. Inside that storeroom, the events took a dark turn. According to the plea document, the accused said they became intimate. Afterwards, he alleged Deveney told him she had cheated on her boyfriend, a revelation that upset him. He then throttled her until she collapsed. He then took out a knife and stabbed her 4 times, twice in the neck, twice in the chest, aiming for major arteries. After she had no pulse, he attempted to conceal her body in the storeroom, dragging her across the floor. He returned to his first aid duties and planted her cell phone in a parked buggy nearby to mislead investigators. Meanwhile, Deveney didn't arrive home that evening, and alarm bells rang. Her mother reported her missing. Her body was discovered hours later on the school grounds. The local police were alerted. Officially, the Western Cape Minister of Police Oversight welcomed the arrest of the suspect after the Serious and Violent Crimes Unit stepped in. Investigators found Deveney's cell phone, linked the accused as the last person seen with her, and eventually the teen confessed. A psychiatric evaluation was done to determine his fitness to stand trial. Adding to the gravity of this case, the accused had a previous allegation of assault. Around 2020, when he was 13 to 14 years old, he was accused of sexually assaulting an 11-year-old girl. The case did not result in a criminal conviction because he was found to lack criminal capacity at that time. Reports indicate that a referral to a juvenile sexual offender program was recommended, but there is no public evidence that it occurred. This raises troubling questions about early warning signs and whether proper intervention could have prevented future violence. Because the accused was 17 at the time of the crime, his identity remains protected under the Children's Act. He entered a plea and sentence agreement with the state. On the 17th of October 2025, the Western Cape High Court handed him an effective 25 years direct imprisonment, the maximum available under the law for a child in conflict with the law. In court, the state detailed the brutality of the attack. The blade penetrated her heart's right ventricle and collapsed her lung. Deveney's mother gave a moving victim impact statement. She described her daughter as gentle, loving, helpful, always put other people's feelings above her own. She said, "Losing your daughter to another's hand is the most painful pain that can exist. The actions changed my life, my family's life, forever." The small town of Caledon and the Overberg region were shocked. The fact that a learner was killed on school grounds, in a place where young people should feel safe, hit hard. Vigils, tributes, and calls for school safety reforms followed. Activists used the case to highlight the broader issues: gender-based violence, femicide, and toxic masculinity. This isn't just a case about murder. It touches on many themes. Number 1, the vulnerability of children even within safe spaces like schools. Number 2, the question of how we address young offenders, accountability, rehabilitation, and protection. Number 3, the lasting ripple effects on families. Deveney's mother, sister, friends, a life stopped in its tracks. Number 4, the need for community safety, vigilance, and support for survivors of violence. I've been thinking about something ever since I read this case. We talk a lot about justice, but what does justice really mean when the person who committed the crime is also a child? The accused in Deveney's case was 17 years old when it happened. He's still legally a minor. That means under South African law, his name can't be made public. And I understand that. The law protects children, even those who commit crimes, because they're still developing and the system believes in rehabilitation. But it does make you wonder, if someone is old enough to take a life, to plan it, carry it out, and then to try cover it up, shouldn't they also be old enough to face the full weight of public accountability? Do we really believe that hiding their identity helps them reform, or does it just make families like Deveney's feel like justice isn't fully seen? And considering his prior allegation of assault, some might argue there were early signs that went unaddressed. Could proper intervention have prevented this tragedy? I'm genuinely curious what you think. Should minors who commit violent crimes be named publicly once they're convicted, or should the law continue to protect their identities no matter the crime? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd really like to hear where you stand on this. Let's remember Deveney for not only how she died, but for how she lived, full of kindness, hope, and the promise of a future. And let us honor her memory by working to make our schools and communities safer, so that no other young life has to end this way. Thank you for watching Voice Behind the Case. Let's continue to speak up for victims, but also talk honestly about accountability, rehabilitation, and what justice really looks like in South Africa. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.